Hey guys, thanks a lot for joining me for this video. I am so pumped to give you a full face tutorial using only 4 brushes. The 4 brushes that I have in this little roll right here. And I got this set from Coastal Scents. It was sent to me as, you know, something new that they've got on their website now. And it's called actually the For Everything brush set. It comes in a little box like this. It says For Everything, so I think, oh my gosh, is this really gonna be able to pull off the full face? Because I've tried a lot of travel brush sets. If you're familiar with my Beauty Broadcast Express channel, which is purely reviews, I have tried a lot of smallish brush sets, and I've been dissatisfied with so many of them because they can't really do all the steps. And they're just not quite as versatile as you would need them to be. So with this one, I thought, okay, let's see. And I've been playing with this, and I actually can say these are 4 brushes that can do the job. And I'm gonna prove it to you in this video. And who is this for? I would say this is for my more minimal crowd out there who doesn't really care to have a huge stash of makeup brushes. And maybe you've heard me rave about Up and Up brushes or Real Techniques or e.l.f., but you don't really feel like going on a wild goose chase to turn up all of those different brushes to create like your perfect drugstore set. Or maybe you don't want to spend a lot on a high-end set. $11.95 I believe is what this brush set is selling for at the moment. I think it may range anywhere from like $16 to $11 depending on what the deal is. So while I often will take a lot of different steps to do makeup and use a zillion and one different products for a look, I thank those of you who are hanging with me in my channel and you have a much more simplified mentality toward things, but you still watch me. This is for you guys who want the simplified look. So it does come with the brush roll that has the 4 slots for these brushes, magnetic closure, which I enjoy. As you can see, incredibly compact. You don't have to worry about your brushes, you know, getting messed up. And then the brushes do have this kind of, I don't know, dark brown wood look to the handle. Kind of lightweight. Not that that really bothers me, but I just want you to know what to expect. It feels like there's more weight toward this side of the brush than the handle. The ferrules seem to be nicely constructed. I've been using Coastal Scents brushes on and off like from the very start of my channel. So I've been pretty pleased over the years with the construction, you know, the lack of shedding, especially these synthetic bristle brushes. I don't think you're going to find that to be a problem. And very, very soft. Just as soft as you could expect any makeup brush to be. You are getting a powder brush, so that could be powder, that could be all over bronzer. You're getting an angled brush, which is going to be good for your blush, your contour, even highlight. I've got a trick to using that for highlight. This flat foundation brush, some of you may really like to apply foundation with a flat brush. Me, not so much, but I do get use out of this for patting in concealer, and it could also be good for a very targeted, bold, pinpointed highlight. There's one eye brush in here, and I gotta say they made a very good choice by including this kind of brush, and as you'll see in the demo, it's not too flat, it's not too fluffy. It's just the right fusion of both to be able to blend out an eye look. I did not even pull in, you know, a blending brush or anything. This did the entire thing. And with this tutorial, I really seek to show you everything that I feel these brushes can do. You might even have some other ideas beyond what I've shown, but I want to show you everything. You may not feel the need to integrate every single step into your daily makeup look, but I just want to put the ideas out there so you're aware of what they can do. So for starters, I'm just going to put on a little BB cream. This is the Physicians Formula Insta Ready Super BB, and I'm using this because this also contains a good SPF. It has SPF 30, so I have it in the shade light medium. I was playing around with this yesterday, and I was actually really pleased with the staying power, and the coverage isn't too bad either as far as BB creams go. So I'm just going to put this on with my hands. Hands work fine, especially with something that feels so much just like a standard moisturizer. Then we got some things. Some things need covering here. I'm going to use my IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye Corrector in the shade medium. This time of year, I'll still use erase paste on and off, but I do find that this little bit deeper peachy shade does an even better job as my skin, you know, just gets a little more sun this time of year. So I'm going to just lightly dab some of this product on the under eye area, and then we'll blend it in here in a second. And since this is really the only concealer I'm using today, if I've got a little problem around the nose, I can just dab some of that on there, no problem. Then from my set, I'm going to use the foundation brush, and this is where I think this kind of brush comes in really handy when you just want to pat in some concealer, because it can kind of blend it out but not over blend it. And I'm just applying, you know, very light pressure. I'm not really sweeping back and forth across the area. I'm just kind of patting it in. And I feel like it's maybe even a little bit small compared to some foundation style like flat brushes that I have. So that also seems to help it. Like I have no problem getting around my eyes with this brush, getting around, you know, the sides of the nose to blend that out. Then this product kind of came back on my radar after I saw Lola Marie 7 mention this in her monthly favorites video, and it's the Wet n Wild contouring palette, and this is in the shade Caramel Toffee. And it's really perfect. I think I've talked about this before as being like one of the most simplified highlighting and contouring palettes because it's a really nice, you know, kind of cool tone contour shade. And then this light color, she was talking about using that like up under the eye area. And I did that the other day and I just loved kind of the coverage that it had and also the brightness. So I'm just gonna take this brush again, dab into this product, and kind of lightly just go up on top of my concealer that I did. Now that concealer from IT Cosmetics is not incredibly goopy, you know, but it can stand to have a little bit of setting powder, at least on my skin type, which can be a little bit more combo this time of year. If you feel like you're one who just can't handle powder in this area, then you are welcome to skip the step. And then elsewhere on the face for a little more coverage and mattified look, I am bringing in my powder brush from the set, and I am using my Bobbi Brown Skin Weightless Powder Foundation. This is in the shade Beige 3. So I'm just kind of buffing this in the areas of my face that don't already have concealer. And if it does have concealer, I just dab over it so I don't mess that up too much. Definitely a mattifying type powder. I would say it's like a medium coverage when it comes to powder foundations though. I can still see certain little freckles and stuff, you know, through the skin as I look up really closely. You know, it's not just like, you know, it didn't just take my entire skin tone and make it 100% super even, but it did even it out a considerable amount, I think. Next, we're going to be using this brush a lot. This is the angled brush in the collection, and I'm really glad that that's in here because it can do blush, it can do contour, it can do highlight, like so many things really well. And honestly, if I were just touching up my makeup, this is probably the size I would use just to put on some powder. So I'm going to go back to that Wet n Wild palette, and I'll just go into this contour shade here. This is a totally matte product, by the way, in case anybody was wondering. Both the highlighter type powder and the contour are matte shades. And I will get some of this around my forehead as well. And take it on down the neck too. Then we're going to do a little blush. I'm using one of my Becca Luminous blushes, and this is probably one of my favorite ones from the group. I was sent the whole line and I've had fun experimenting, but I'm really liking Snapdragon here. I just think, I don't know, maybe it's just this time of year. I love that kind of pink and coral mix. It's kind of bright. So dip into that with the brush. It only takes a little bit of shades like this. And I'll just blend that right here, kind of on the outer part of the apple of my cheek, and sweep upward. It's amazing just the tiny amount of product you need with these blushes. And then for the highlight, I'm going to throw back to some classic Mary Luminizer from the Balm, and I will just be using the same brush, but kind of the advantage to having the angled brush, you do have some surface area to work with here, and you can confine product to just one part if you want to. So I'm going to mainly just get product right in here, right on that pointed side, and it'll keep me from, you know, having a fully like overloaded brush, and it'll only apply product. Maybe you can see there. That product's only in a small part of the brush. So then when I apply it to the cheeks, I'm only, you know, confining it to that one part of the cheek where I want it. Same thing on the other side, a little bit of product on the tip. Great way to use this brush as a highlighting brush. And then of course you can easily highlight Cupid's bow area. Anywhere else you like to highlight on your skin, be my guest. One other way though that I think works really nicely to highlight is you can pinpoint an area if you're going for a very strong highlight, because this will apply more concentrated color than this angled brush will. But if you want to go that way, you could do a cream, a liquid, a powder highlight with your flat brush and just go right on top of your cheek, and that would work fine too. And this is typically the stage of the game where I will bust out a little bit of setting spray. This is my hard Hard Candy Sheer Envy Hydrating Primer Mist. I've learned to keep my mouth shut during that phase. It is fine as like a setting type mist after your makeup too. I really find that it does make a difference with the overall dewy look and just taking away a powdery look. We used a lot of powder kind of all over the face today with that Bobbi Brown stuff. So I do like the way this kind of finishes off the face. So we'll pull you in a little bit for the eyes, and I'm just gonna do my quick and easy Dope Taupe pencil here from ColourPop with those few places in my brows that I actually need to fill in. This kind of color just fills those gaps perfectly without looking too intense. So I think my brows have been in good shape while I've been using this thing. And then I'm just putting a little gel over them to help them stay in place. This is just a Wet n Wild clear brow gel. All over the lids, gonna use a little Milani eyeshadow primer here. That's what I always do. I love this stuff. I love how little it really takes. Just kind of rub it between two fingers, dab onto the lids, up through the crease. Got a little more on one side than the other. This does a little bit of neutralizing discoloration on the lids. I've had a couple questions about that. It's not maybe quite as full coverage as some things that you might put on the eyes, but it feels a lot like an Urban Decay primer potion type of consistency. I also forgot to put my lip oil on. When I'm shooting a tutorial, it just takes me out of my routine, you know? This is the Milani lip oil, the lemon honey one. It's such a nice way to prep the lips before product. It's become kind of like my favorite thing to have on there first. On the eyes, we're doing a one shadow look today, and I'm going to be using a shade that I haven't tried yet actually as a one shadow look. I suspect I'm really going to like it, but I mentioned this in my Bobbi Brown haul. This is the shade Cognac that I got, and it's one of the metallic eyeshadows, although it's not like overly metallic and shimmery, but it does have some sheen to it, and it's a little bit on the dark end of what I might use as a one shadow look, but that's good because that'll really challenge this one brush that we're going to use as far as blending goes. As you know, if you've seen my Bobbi Brown video, I love burnt sugar for a one shadow look, so I'm interested to see if this one will be good too. The brush that we're using here, the reason why I think this works so nicely for a one shadow look is because it's a good fusion of flat and fluffy. It's flat enough to be able to pack something on the lid, but it's got enough like give to the bristles and enough fullness and fluffiness to be able to do a little blending. Not maybe to the extent that you're accustomed to with like a full sort of domed blending brush, but I still think it's going to be able to do the job, and it can wedge itself in the crease, and it can even get below the eye. So here's how we do it with a one shadow look and a one brush look. I'm pretty excited. So I'm going to pick up some of this shadow, and I go a little at a time, especially if it's a shadow that's new to me, that I haven't used a lot. I'm not quite sure how it's gonna play on my eyes. Just build up little by little and pat all over the lid. This is where you want that shade that's got the little bit of shimmer to kind of catch the light, and this is what allows it to really look like 2, even 3 separate shades on the eyes, is because when you've got it on the lid, it's actually showing some shine. Next, I'm going to pick up some product a little bit more focused right on the tip of the brush. The bristles are tapered all the way kind of down the sides, so when you lay it in flat like I was doing to go all over the lid, I was picking up product on the side and I was able to pat it, you know, all over the lid and keep it kind of controlled. Now we're going more for the tip because we're wanting to wedge it into the crease. And I'm just kind of dabbing it in there. I'm not really raking it back and forth. We're not totally in a blending mode yet. Just wedging shadow right into the crease. From the inner part of the crease to the outer part here. And if you want to shape that shadow a little bit more, give yourself more of an outer V, here's the time when you would do that. But I like to just kind of bring it up just above where my actual crease line is. Now that I'm at the point where it feels like a lot of the shadow's kind of wearing off the brush, I'm going to make sure the brush is as bare as possible and brush it off on my hand, and then we blend. We're going to just blend over the edge and allow that shade to just be nicely sheared out. And I think this is a beautiful one shadow look, you know? We're getting multiple effects from what's happening on the lid, with just a little bit of shine. There's not a ton of shimmer in this shade. Depth in the crease. And then a more sheer look to the shade up above the eye. Now I haven't done the crease step yet on this eye, so I will again tap the brush straight into the product. Just wedge it right in here, dabbing all along the crease just to apply the product. And then as you're really working that product off of your brush, you start to bring your brush upward a little bit. So the color is just starting to appear above your natural crease. And when you kind of feel like you've gotten all the product off of the brush that you can, ensure that you have by brushing it off on the back of your hand. And then just use this kind of as a blender, back and forth over the edges, shearing out the edge of the look even more, no harsh lines. Now the area under the eye, I think I want a little smudge there too, so I'm going to work with just the tip of the brush. I'm going to just softly go under the eye. You could take whatever highlight you're using. I could use the Mary Luminizer or this matte one and just kind of take that up under the brow. And that can aid in blending too. Then a gel liner pencil that I'm so excited about. This was sent to me by ColourPop. I believe the shade name is Honey Dude. It's so metallic I can hardly focus in on it. But it's a nice retractable nude pencil that transfers so nicely onto the lower inner rim. And I think this might have been part of their summer collection. The way that transfers onto the waterline, it's just effortless. And unless I'm going dark and smoky or even colorful on the waterline, I am all about like zapping the redness, the pinkness, the tiredness out of that area by putting a nude liner there. Then I'm going to do the upper lash line. I've been trying out this Tartist. It's a double-ended eyeliner. NYX put out something very similar to this that I had reviewed in the past, but you've got your retractable black pencil on one end and then your felt tip liquid liner on the other. So I'm going to take this liquid and go across the upper lash line. Next, I am curling my upper lashes, and I've been trying to work through this Almay One Coat Multi-Benefit Mascara. And then I am going to pop on some of my favorite lashes of the moment. These are, so you can see them better, the style. They're the Salon Perfect Go Glam Multi-Pack, and they are the 615 style. If you're new to lashes, I will link to my False Lashes 101 video below, but I'm going to just put these on and join you back here for lips. Okay, so lashes are on, and I've done a little lower lash mascara too with my CoverGirl Clump Crusher Water Resistant. And for lips, I'm just thinking I kind of want to go along with what's happening with the eyeshadow shade, you know, this little bit of a rusty brown. So I'm going for a brownish neutral on the lips. This is the Read My Lips lip gloss from the Balm, and the shade is called Grr. And yeah, I do think this is going to be a pretty pairing with this eye. You know, it's not too heavy, but it really kind of stays in the same color family. Dare I say it's kind of like one of those Your Lips But Better lip glosses. Your Lips But Way Shinier. Alright, so finished look, 4 brushes only. I'm pretty dang happy with this look because we didn't even pull in any sponges or other makeup tools. You know, it was this or fingers, and I really did rely on the brushes quite a bit. And I do want to share one other thing that the big brush is really nice for. If you want to do like any sort of shimmery, glowy body bronzer or highlight, like I think Betty Luminizer from the Balm is really good for this. I've had a few balm products in this video, but a brush this size can be great for like a little touch-up later in the day, and maybe you're going out and you've put on something that's showing the décolleté or the shoulders a little bit more. This is a really pretty look, and you get a nice even application when you're using a larger brush like this. And you know I can't do this stuff left-handed. Right hand, right shoulder. Otherwise, thinking of any other ways you might use these brushes as an on-the-go touch-up set, the angled brush is probably one of the most versatile in the kit, because I would probably honestly, if I were going to touch up any powder, I would just grab for this one because the size is so perfect for just dabbing it over, you know, certain areas like the T-zone. Again, great for blush, contour, all that. Sometimes if I'm wanting to change up my look a little bit day to night, one thing that I'll notice staying power wise, normally I don't have a lot of staying power issues with eyeshadow, but one thing that can sometimes fade is when it's a shimmery or even glittery shadow. You can see that kind of fade off as the day goes on. So if you wanted to, you could dip into something that was a little more shiny and kind of just use this brush to dab it right on the center of the lid or something like that. And again, this brush, pinpointed highlighting, it's really great for that, or if you need to go over concealer, nice little touch-up tool there as well. This is one of the only like small brush sets that really can pull it all off. So I would highly recommend it. Thank you guys so much for watching my video, and I will see you next time. Bye.